When it comes to the future of finance, there's a few crucial pieces to this system that we need in order for this to actually become a reality. And Quant Network is one of those crucial pieces, in my opinion. For years, we've debated on which one is better, Quant or Chainlink. And I've always talked about this on multiple occasions, even when we compare multiple DLTs to one another. These are pieces that I feel like are going to work together in order to really kind of make sure that this Web3 future really becomes a reality. Now, when it comes to QNT, when it comes to Quant itself, over the last couple of years, we've been seeing a lot of people kind of giving up on QNT, and that's because the chart looks like this. Now, believe it or not, I'm actually very happy about this price chart. Why? Because it's very boring. What have I said in the past about boring charts? They typically lead into major moves. For an example, just go back to 2018 all the way into about 2021 for QNT. This was all boring price action. We're talking about sub $10 leading into, of course, December, the end of December into January, when the big move actually officially started for QNT, running all the way to $400 plus. Right now, we've been pretty boring since about roughly that high back in 2021, August, by the way. So we're coming up on 4 years, and all we've been doing during this time is, just trading sideways in a very boring fashion. At the same exact time that Quant's overall use case and the potential of QNT becomes even stronger every single day. Now let's actually talk about that with XRP HBAR XLM, and really kind of look at how this becomes a reality. Number one, let's think about stablecoins, right? Because stablecoins are just becoming one of the biggest things in this market to really kind of talk about. I've actually addressed this with XRP because I said that I kind of sound like a broken record at this point because all we really talk about now is stablecoins. But how can't we? When stablecoins, you got to think about it like this. It's a $250 billion market at this point. 1.1% of the M2 money supply, and we see adoption happening for stablecoins almost every single day. Back in the middle of May, Fireblocks said that 90% of banks are rolling out stablecoins. Cross-border B2B payments and speed lead the charge. When we think about big banks diving into stablecoins, what's the biggest problem that really kind of comes up? How are banks connecting their traditional systems into these digital systems? It's not as easy as just launching a stablecoin and calling it a day. There is technical problems that must be focused on. This is where Quant actually becomes a big player, and I'm going to go over that. But first, let's actually start off with a few things that are happening around stablecoins, like this one that just got announced on the 23rd. Fiserv debuts bank-friendly stablecoin as fintechs join digital dollar race. Now, Fiserv is a massive institutional player. FIUSD will integrate directly into Fiserv's existing infrastructure, allowing financial institutions to adopt stablecoin payments without overhauling systems or paying extra. This is definitely a big deal. But again, this is a walled garden approach. Why? Well, because this is connecting into Fiserv's existing infrastructure. Now, this is great for those financial institutions that are already tied back to Fiserv, but what about traditional financial systems that also still need to be intertwined with this? Because again, a big bank launching a stablecoin, regardless of what infrastructure it's actually launching it through, interoperability is still going to be a big issue in the traditional world. Again, I think that this is great. I think that this is showing us that institutional players are here in a big way and they want to launch stablecoins. They want to tap into the stablecoin race, but there's still a lot of questions that still have yet to be answered. But on top of that, we also have over here, exclusive, MasterCard joins USDG stablecoin group, adds support for PayPal and Fiserv tokens. MasterCard and Visa are both going to tap in. A lot of people have been asking, what about MasterCard? How about Visa? What are these two going to actually do when it comes to the stablecoin race? They have to be involved. They're going to be involved. This is something that I've always talked about. All of the traditional financial giants are hopping on board because they know if they don't, they'll be left behind. And then also governments. Stablecoins, the reason why stablecoins are now one of the biggest things to talk about is because every single government, it's not just the US, every single government is looking at stablecoins becoming this big financial weapon now. We've talked about it in the past. The US has weaponized the US dollar. It's the number one reason why all of these nations want to get away from the US dollar and the US dollar system. Now the US is looking at stablecoins as potentially becoming another weapon of choice for them. If that is the case, this is extremely bullish for crypto. Why? Well, because that means that stablecoins are going to grow astronomically over the coming weeks, months, and years ahead. Which brings us back to Quant. Why? Well, let's go over here. So number one, Quant Flow. So recently, Quant actually announced that we're delighted to announce that Quant was voted the best programmable payments platform at the Future of Finance Awards last week in London. This recognition is a real testament to the work that we've put into building our industry-first platform that's redefining how money works. We'd like to thank our partners, customers, and our team for bringing our vision to life and supporting us in building a programmable money platform fit for the digital economy. Now, when we think about Quant Flow, this is that same, financial infrastructure, if you will, that was tied back to the ECB, which did get announced last month in May, actually. Last month, the ECB announced that Quant, alongside almost 70 market participants, including merchants, fintech companies, startups, banks, and other payment service providers, has been selected to work on the ECB's Digital Euro project as a pioneer partner. This is huge. Now, when we think about Quant Flow, right, this is programmable money for smarter financial systems, unlock liquidity and efficiency. Quant Flow is a ready-to-deploy, API-driven programmable digital money platform. This means that traditional systems could easily tap into this with plug-and-play technology. This is built with Overledger as well. It enables banks, fintechs, and PSPs to innovate and transform their current infrastructure with account automation and payment programmability that will shape the next generation of digital finance. Combining programmable payments logic, rapid development of new products, and seamless API integration, Quant Flow can future-proof existing infrastructure, offer industry-leading customer experiences, and unlock long-term returns. Now, you might be saying, well, Nick, what does this have to do with stablecoins? And what does it have to do with XRP, HBAR, and even XLM? Well, first, let's actually look at this. We have realizing the potential of programmable payments, intelligent payment orchestration, which is more so just, payment templates for like tax automation, payroll, and treasury management, automate complex payment scenarios with PayScript, and then trigger-based architecture links bank accounts to real-world events. So this will link bank accounts to any of these real-world events. And then we have secure and compliant digital money infrastructure. Pretty straightforward. And then interoperability across banking and digital assets. And this is the key here. Seamless connectivity direct to banking systems or via open banking. Stablecoin and tokenized deposit support for cross-border and institutional payments. Integration requires minimal or no change to existing systems. This means that stablecoins do not have to launch on Quant. Stablecoins that are launched on any network in this space can now be connected and fully interoperable through Quant Flow. Then, of course, PayScript. This is unlocking new revenue streams and things like that. PayScript is just the language behind this, if you will, or, it's basically the data behind it. Who can benefit from Quant Flow? Corporates, banks, capital markets, and treasury management as well. Again, this is basically connecting digital assets to everything, which does include stablecoins as well. Now, when we think about that, what networks are perfect fit for this? You could say Ethereum, sure. Ethereum is definitely connectable to, you can connect Ethereum into Overledger. In fact, it's always been able to connect through Overledger. Then we have the XRP ledger as well. On June 12th, we got a big update from Ripple XDev, which was the stablecoins that are live on the XRP ledger: RLUSD, USDC, XSGD, EURP, USDB. This doesn't even include BBRL and URS as well. And also the URSV stablecoin. That's 3 euro stablecoins and 3 US dollar stablecoins and a Brazilian stablecoin. Like, when we think about all of these stablecoins that are coming to the XRP ledger, this is huge. And it's showing us that the XRP ledger will be a crucial piece in the evolution of money because of all of these stablecoins that are issued out on the actual ledger. But then you also have Hedera, which has USDC and the Australian digital dollar as well. Not to mention that Filipino banks plan to launch multi-issuer stablecoin PHPX on Hedera as well. And then you got to think about the stablecoin studio, because that's what's behind this. Actually, the stablecoin studio is the key thing behind this. When we think about these networks that are seeing so much stablecoin activity on them already, they are perfect fit to be tapped in with Quant Flow. Now, again, I've talked about Quant and XRP back in 2021, because before on Quant's website, I think that it's actually been updated since, but if you actually went to Overledger on their website, it would show you what networks were connected back into Overledger. They since then moved that, but before it was Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, I think Litecoin maybe, and then Hyperledger Fabric, Hyperledger Basu. Basically, Overledger, it doesn't have to have specific blockchains. This can connect to anything. It can connect to multiple blockchains. It can connect to traditional financial systems and traditional networks. This is the key, if you will. I think that Overledger, the best way that I could describe it is it's the golden goose for, the Web3 future of payments and for all of this stuff that we talk about on a day-to-day basis to become a reality. This is a true enabler. Chainlink is also a big player, because Chainlink is also working on, connecting traditional systems into, blockchain and DLT processes. But I do think that Quant's overall approach here is extremely significant. And I think that everyone should be, focused on Quant. Also, having QNT and Link in your portfolio is not a bad idea. But we've gone over XRP, we've gone over Hedera. What about XLM? Because recently I made an XLM video where I talked about the stablecoins on XLM, or on Stellar, if you will. The stablecoins themselves, we can see them all down here, right? So when we think about stablecoins, there are 6 of them, and there's an Australian digital dollar, AUDC, GMO Trust, which is a USD stablecoin, a yen stablecoin through GMO, USDC, Circle, and then also a Canadian dollar as well. And then we also have Euro with Circle. And there's also a gold token as well on XLM. But all of these stablecoins that are on XLM, they provide us with the same insight that, the ones on XRP show us, which is these are becoming the networks that have some of the most stablecoins on them. There's definitely a lot of big ones out there already, like, for an example, Ethereum that has 55, Solana that has 16, Avalanche has 10. The rest have about 6 or 5 or 4 or so. We already know that, XRP has 5. I think confirmed overall, there's still going to be about 7 or 8. But these networks are becoming big pieces of the stablecoin future. And I actually like to look at the ones that have the most stablecoin market cap on them as well. Over time, this will change significantly, especially as we do start to see more and more adoption around stablecoins as payment services. But the main thing that I'm actually looking at here is just what's going to be happening going forward in this space. We're going to see more governments on board, more banks on board. Institutional players are just going to continue to flood in. And when we think about that, right, they're going to need that interoperability. They're going to need that interconnectivity between, stablecoins that they're launching, the networks in which they're launching the stablecoins on, and then also it has to be connected back to their traditional systems. Quant is a key player behind this. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because I'm free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.